Hello, I'm going to show you now how to install AISBackup, make a couple of backups, restore from the backups, and a couple of more advanced features like emailing the results of the backup and scheduling jobs so that they run automatically. I haven't installed AISBackup on this PC, but I have downloaded the installation file from the website. So if I go to downloads, double click to run. Click next, accept the license agreement, click next, click next, click next, click next, install. Now the first time that AISBackup is run, it sets up some defaults. One of which is the folder that the backups go to. You can of course choose other destinations when you set up a backup, but if you don't choose a destination, in this case they will go to C:\backups. I'll accept all the defaults by clicking Save. Optionally view the README file, then click Close. The very first time AISBackup is run on a PC, you're presented with this form, which invites you to create a new backup job by clicking New. To backup the PC, simply click Backup the PC. Now, I wanted a backup to an external drive, but I haven't connected it yet. So I'll connect the drive. Well, the drive's connected. It hasn't shown up yet in the destination, but if I re-click Backup the PC, you'll find it there. AISBackup makes what we call jobs to run each backup. You can have one or several backup jobs on your PC. You may change the name of the backup job here, but I'll leave it as is. And then to create the backup, simply click Create Job. It asks you if you would like to modify selected files, the list of files selected for backup. I don't need to, but I want to show you something quickly. You can see that it's backed up each partition except for the external drive and the CD drive. If I show you C, you'll notice that the folder that's been created to contain backups hasn't been selected for backup. You'll quickly run out of backup space on the C drive if you kept backing up the backups. There are other exclusions as well, like the page file and the swap file. There's absolutely no reason to back up these files, as if you did end up restoring your PC, they would be recreated anyway. There are a lot of other exclusions. If you click the Exclusions tab, you can see them here. These are files that are deemed, well, that shouldn't be backed up, or they're temporary files. So I'll accept and then click Run to run the backup. Optionally enter a comment for the backup, and then click OK. AISBackup is now examining the partitions that have been selected and is making a note of all the files to back up. The process of backing up takes rather a long time, so I'll speed up the video. Right, the backup is completed. Took about 1 hour 40 minutes. That's a bit longer than the backup in the PDF documentation because I've got extra software installed on this PC now. Let's quickly show you the backup reports. This gives a summary of what was backed up. But there is another, there is another option on backup reports that shows the sessions. And this shows you what was backed up, etc. No files changed, all the files were added, and no files deleted because there's only one backup session. The sessions are listed under the Sessions tab. That gives you some information about what was on the backup, if it detects an operating system, and the fact it completed successfully. What I'll do now is install some software on this computer that I've already downloaded. I'm going to install the Thunderbird email system and Apache OpenOffice. But to save time for you, I'm going to speed up this video. Right, I've installed OpenOffice and Mozilla Thunderbird. What I'll do now is restart AISBackup and run another backup. So one option is to right-click and choose Run as Administrator, which saves an extra step when running the backup from the interface when you don't run as an administrator. Now I started AISBackup just by double-clicking the icon. You'll notice a shield next to any backup jobs that must run as an administrator. So we'll select the backup we just did and choose Run Backup. Now AISBackup will restart as an administrator and proceed with the backup. Again, this will take some time, so I'll speed up the video. Optionally, put a comment in. Click OK. AISBackup is now comparing the contents of the previous backup with what is on the disk partitions now, and selecting those which need to be backed up. It will also make a note of any files that were deleted between the backup sessions. Here you are, the second backup is now finished. It's very much quicker than a full backup. Again, the summary log will be looked at and the sessions. Here it defaults with the last backup run, but you can choose any backup session. It's showing you all the files that have been backed up and the reason why they've been backed up. So some files were changed, some files were added, and between the two backup sessions, some files were deleted. Because we didn't do much between these two backups, these are most likely system files, but you can drill down and have a look. To avoid any ambiguity, the files marked as deleted in session 2 aren't actually deleted from the backup because they would be required to restore session 1. Close that. Let's quickly show you the restore form. Now, if you're restoring the operating system, you'd have to choose a dated session. All sessions will show you each version of each file from each backup session. So we're going to session 2, and you can see if I drill down on program files that Mozilla Thunderbird is on this backup. But then if I select the first session, as you can see, you can change sessions from the bottom of the form. You see that Mozilla Thunderbird isn't on the first session. However, the restore form shows you all the files that existed on the PC at the date the backup session was made, i.e. the date you ran the backup. So essentially, even though the backup was equivalent to an incremental backup, the actual backup is a full backup. I'll now show you how to make a backup of data on the PC. If we start AISBackup, for this I'll show you the procedure using the cue card, which is designed to help you when you're starting out with AISBackup. So we want to create a new backup job, create a backup job. There are two options here. One is to create a backup job to back up your C drive. So it says now with the arrow, click new backup job. Select what you want to back up. Well, for this option, we're going to choose what to back up. Then select the destination for the backup. I'm going to back it up to the external drive. And then change the backup job name to data to external drive backup 002. Create job. Now you can read through these options, one of which is click Common File Selection. So we click Common File Selection, and from here we could choose My Documents or Everybody's Documents. Indeed, it's documents, pictures, music, videos, etc. And there are options over here for known or well-known email applications. So we'll back up Everybody's Documents and Everybody's Thunderbird folders, and then click Process Selection. However, if you forget to click Process Selection, you can just click OK. Then it reminds you the auto file selections were not actioned. Action now? Yes. We've selected all the folders that contain common data. You can select other folders. So, for example, I might choose, well, I would normally choose to back up my SQL Server data, but those files are massive, so for the demonstration I won't do that here. You can choose to exclude some files from the backup. Now I do know there are some files in downloads that I'd want to back up, and those are the exe files. In fact, I don't want any program which have a suffix of exe backed up. So you can right click those, and this is new in version 6. You can choose exclude all files of type exe from the backup. Now you might think, why not just deselect them? The problem with deselecting files, AISBackup only backs up files that have been selected. So if you deselect anything, any new files that come into this folder won't be selected. So built into AISBackup is the ability to exclude some selected files. So you can choose all but this file. If you choose all but this file, any selection you make then will be an exclusion rather than a do not backup. But in this case, I want to exclude all files of type XC. The exclude files of type is not to be confused with files of type XC. This is for a different style of backup, where you only backup files with the selected file extensions. So I'm going to exclude all files of type XC from this backup because I don't want them. In actual fact, I could exclude all files of type INI as well. In fact, I'll do that. Exclude files of type INI. These exclusions in previous versions of AISBackup used to have to be set up over here. So if I remove by double clicking the star.ini, you will see it's now selected for backup again. But in the exclusions, you could type star.ini and then add, and there you are, it's excluded again. So I'll click OK. And then here it says click run to run the backup job now, which yes. You optionally enter a comment and then click OK. And there we have it, a data backup. I'll now introduce you to backup sessions. As you can see with this backup job, we have made 3 backups, 2 on the 25th of April and 1 on the 26th. The one on the first backup session made on the 25th of April has been marked to prune. Pruning is what we call the method of removing the files that only exist in this backup session from the actual backup data, thereby reducing the amount of disk space that a backup needs. If you want to retain a backup, you can right-click and choose Disable Auto Prune. AISBackup is now loading the contents of the backup with which to make the change. I also want to keep the second backup session that was made after I installed Thunderbird and OpenOffice. This data won't be saved unless you either choose another backup job or run another backup option. So that'll show you the data is now being saved. The backup sessions are managed by using Manage Backup, Change Backup Job Settings, and then Session Settings. The default session management is Advanced Session Management. You can change these by clicking Edit Advanced Sessions. Each day a backup is made, any excess backup sessions will be deleted on the next backup day, i.e. the next day that you run a backup. The backup keeps 7 daily backups and 5 weekly backups and 6 monthly backups, but these can be easily changed. So if you want to keep a year's worth of monthly backups, you can change that to 12. The weekly backups are based on the day of the week that you specify, and the last day of the month can also be changed. So you might consider the last day of the month for you is actually mid-month. You can change some calendar rules. For example, the first day of the week for some is Monday, for others it might be Sunday. The same applies to the last day of the week or the backup day of the week and the first week of a year rule. Once you've made the changes, click OK. Session-based backups is a method by retaining a set number of backup sessions. So in this case, 10 has been selected. So the backup will keep the last 10 backups made, not based on any particular date. You may also type in the number of sessions. A generation style backup is a special backup whereby the backup will keep the specified numbers of versions of files. This is more useful, I guess, for data backups where you want to keep the last 10 versions of an image for image editing, the last 10 versions of a document. Again, this number can be changed. A generation style backup isn't compatible with making session restores. So it's not possible with a generation backup to set your PC back to how it was on a certain day in the past. As I said, the default session management is advanced session management, which considers quite a useful range of dates from which to keep backup data. There is an option to keep one copy of all deleted files in a backup. Now, this is only really useful for data backups because Windows is forever changing, and Windows is making files, deleting files all the time. So with a full backup, you could end up with tens of thousands of files that were only there at the time the backup was made. For disk-based backups, you can actually choose the option, which is the default option, to reclaim the disk space from the backup destination. This will actually take the backup files that contain a number of files and remove any files from those that are no longer required for any of the remaining backup sessions. Once you've made changes, click OK.